The law of cosines will be discussed in today's video, and is very similar to the law of sines in that we can use it to help us find missing sides and angles of non-right triangles. It's a little bit different because we have equations that we'll be working with instead of proportions. And I know it looks messy and complicated now, but we will only be using one of these depending upon the information that is given to us. So we won't have to use all three in a single problem. The law of cosines is useful when we're given two or more sides, whereas the law of sines is useful when you're given two angles. So let's take a look at our first example here. And we have a triangle ABC. We're given two sides, 11 and 9, and we're asked to find the missing side x. Now, the x that we're looking for would be corresponding to angle C, so we're going to be using this bottom equation for example 1. And I'm going to recommend that you write that down so that you'll know exactly what to plug in to these variables, because that's all this really is taking an equation and plugging in our numbers. Alright, so C here would be our missing side, so that's going to be x. My A, opposite of angle A, is 9. Opposite of angle B is 11. And I have 2 times A is 9, B is 11, and I'm going to multiply that times the cosine of C, which is 28 degrees. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and simplify this, and I know it's not in the order of operations as far as the addition goes, but I'm going to go ahead and square these and add them together, because if I do so, I'll be able to take a calculator shortcut and not have to worry about repeating decimal numbers and having to write those down on my paper. So if I can avoid that, I always want to make sure that I do. So I have 81 plus 121. Let's go ahead and add those together, and I'll get 202 minus 198 times the cosine of 28 degrees. And what I'm going to do is go ahead and get x by itself. So instead of working out the rest of this and getting a crazy looking decimal number, we're going to get x by itself by taking the square root. That makes your exponent disappear, and we're going to take this and plug it into our calculator. So for a graphing calculator we would hit second square root 202 minus 198 times the cosine of 28 degrees, and then hit enter, and I get 5.213 blah blah blah. We're going to be rounding to the nearest tenths for side measures, so rounding to the nearest tenths would make that 5.2, and so my x is 5.2. Let's take a look at an example where we're going to have to find missing angle measure. Okay, this time I'm given 3 sides, but I'm asked to find the missing angle. I'm also not given angle names, so let's just go ahead and name some. We'll make this one A, B, and C. Okay, so in my example, angle B is the one I'm searching for, so the formula that we're going to be using is the one that starts with B squared. So let's go ahead and write down our formula here. Alright. So filling in the blanks, my B for B squared will be 8. Little a is going to be 3. C is 6. And again, A is 3. C is 6. And this time, cosine of B, angle B, will be cosine of x, since that is our unknown. Alright, let's simplify and solve. So 8 squared would give me 64. 3 squared is 9. 6 squared is 36. 2 times 3 times 6 would give me 36. And that is supposed to be multiplied times the cosine of x. Alright, I will follow order of operations here. I will have to put these together first. So I add 9 plus 36, that gives me 45. Minus 36 is equal to the cosine of x. We're trying to isolate x, so since it's got a 36 attached to it, we'll first move our 45, and I'll do that by subtracting 45 on both sides. That leaves a negative 36 cosine of x on the right side, and on the left side I'm going to have 19. Okay, this will be set up like we did with right angle trigonometry. So if I'm looking for a missing angle measure, I'm going to be dividing by this coefficient of negative 36. And now, to find missing angle measure, we're going to be using the inverse trig function. So that will look like the inverse of cosine of 19 over negative 36. And we'll type that into our calculator. So we'll hit second cosine 19 divided by negative 36, hit enter, and I have 121.855, but for angle measures we're going to round that up to the nearest angle, and since we're rounding to the nearest degree, that answer will be 122. And that is the end of the problem.